like that on purpose, I also know that I can create a very negative response on purpose. And so, now, Brian, I'm going to use you as an example because you're close by here. I'm going to create with Brian, on purpose, a very negative response, okay? On purpose. Now, if I can create it on purpose negatively, what can I also do? Create it on purpose positively, okay? So, Brian and I just met previously, and we're going to pretend this is our first interaction, okay? Hey, Brian, good to see you. I'm glad you came by. Things good? Fantastic. Okay, I'm glad you came. So now, think about that for a second. I'm just going to ask Brian a couple questions. How did that feel?
Lousy.
Felt lousy? Okay. Now, if you were, I know we don't typically supposed to judge people, but I want to let your mind run for a moment, and I want you to judge me. If that's what I gave you, what kind of words would come to mind?
Disinterested, rude.
Disinterested, is he being polite? I think he's being a little polite, right? Disinterested, rude, give it up. Come on. How?
Jerk.
He was a jerk, right? Okay, so now, let me ask you a question. Did this interaction gain trust with you, or did I lose it? Lost it. Now, how long did that take? It was almost instant. It was almost instant. Now, here's what's fascinating. Should Brian judge me based on my handshake? You shouldn't, but the reality is, do we? We do. We can't deal in the shoulds and shouldn'ts. So, yeah, he shouldn't judge me, but the reality is that we will get judged that way. So, now here's what's interesting. So I just lost trust in a split second. Split second, lost trust. Now, here's what's tough, especially if you're leaders. The challenge is you're all watched. In fact, one of the things that they found is that leaders are the most influential because you're the most watched, you're the most listened to in an organization. And so I messed this one up, and I lost trust. But did you guys observe this? So let's pretend that you observe this. In reality, what thoughts will go through your mind? Give me some words. Jerk, like one, thank you, I like it. What else? Arrogant, conceited, give me some. What? Loser. Oh, that's a good one, I like that. So the reality is that, think about this for a second. Split second, I lost it. I lost it. $100 billion was spent by these companies, and I'd probably venture to say most of that was about how do you create trust in an organization. But I lost it in a split second here, and if I'm a naive leader, I'm thinking, well, I just lost it with him, let me go to the next person. But what's the reality? I just lost it with everybody who observed it. That's the challenge. One of the things that's going to be toughest, and it's toughest for all of us, and I don't care where we come from, even if we know it's tough, is to be aware of our influence, because that's what leadership is. You are influencing on a daily basis. You're going to influence, whether you like it or not. The question is, what are you influencing? Is it the message that you want to send? Now, some people say, well, people shouldn't judge my body language. People shouldn't say or do these things based on how I act that way. Yeah, but they probably shouldn't. The reality is, they do. We can't deal in the shoulds and shoulds. So now, I created that on purpose. So now, coach me for a second. How would I re-give that handshake in a way that would create on purpose a positive response from Ryan? Eye contact, what else? Firm handshake. Take a look at him, smile, ask a personal question. Should I wait for a response? Okay, so we'll try it again. You guys tell me what to do. Hey, Brian, good to see you. You know, I've heard some great things about your presentation. I'm really, really looking forward to hearing it. We'll just pretend I did this earlier. Good. Thanks for coming, though. I appreciate it. So was that better? Is that better? How'd that feel? It's better, right? Now, see, guys, did you come to BP to learn how to shake hands? It says, oh my, you guys are going to leave today. It says, oh my God, it was amazing. I learned how to shake hands. It's insane. It was incredible. It's worth everything. But that's not the message. It's not the message. The gift of knowledge here, hopefully, is it's awareness. It's that moment to slow down and to realize your influence. As leaders, how do you realize that influence? It's a challenge. It's a tough one. I'm going to get myself back up here, and hopefully I don't fall on my way up. But as we're thinking about this process, all of the answers, all of the things that you're hearing are things that you know already. Because how many people knew that if you shook a hand wrong, that you get a negative response? How many of you knew that? Right? So how many of you knew already that if you just began to trust each other, your organizations began to trust each other, you'd get better results? Right? Because we know this stuff already. We can ask these questions 1,000 times. The question is, as Greg was putting, is how do you get from knowing to doing? That's tough. I mean, I know I shouldn't eat McDonald's. I know it. But when I'm late, this one doesn't matter, right? I know I shouldn't do it, but we know these things, but how do we get ourselves to do that? We know we should